This is Island Gaming with G. And today we have a wonderful interview here with Sarah Bond, as she had an interview. Now, this interview is about 37 minutes long. I was able to condense it to about 15 minutes. And in this interview, Sarah Bond would have addressed a lot of the questions that Xbox fans would have been asking over the months and over the years. She would have addressed, is Xbox changing? Is Xbox evolving? What about multiplayer? Why are these games going multiplayer? And also hardware. Are they going to stop hardware? All of this is what she addresses and more. So sit back and relax as we see Sarah Bond answering the hard question, and shout out to that interviewer who asked some really, really good questions. So let's get it.
Xbox itself is rapidly transforming. Acquisitions, new technologies, shifting consumer tastes and habits. How do you foster continued innovation without losing focus on what Xbox truly is?
Yeah. Well,
billion-dollar question.
Billion-dollar question. Well, look what, Xbox is really all about making it easy for people to access and play their games. Like, we know that's what players care about. And so all of this innovation, all of the things that are happening in the industry, they are being harnessed to enable that more easily and more accessibly for customers than ever before. And so a good example actually is if you look back at the history of the industry, it used to be that if you bought a game on the console, you could only play that game on the console. And if you wanted to play it on a PC, you had to buy it again on a PC, and you couldn't even access it on a mobile device. And that's actually how the industry grew up. And what we've seen is a good example of the change that you're talking about is more and more people are playing their games across multiple devices. That people want gaming to act like all forms of entertainment act, where you could actually pick up, you can instantly go, and you can move across. Another example is that people, if you've got a friend who's playing on PC and you're playing on an Xbox, you want to be able to play with that person. You want to be able to seamlessly jump in and experience the same experience with them at the exact same time. All of these things are potential disruptions if you look at it another way and you say, hey, I want to actually keep with the status quo, but they're actually things that the player really wants. They're true unlocks. And so for us, it's about looking at actually how players behave and leveraging the technology that's out there to give them that experience. So that's one of the reasons why we launched Xbox Play Anywhere, which makes it possible. You buy the game once, you can play it across all the devices that you want to play. It's another reason why when we launched the Xbox Ally, we put in a gaming co-pilot button actually on the Xbox Ally. And that's because we saw this opportunity to make it easier for people once they get into games to navigate them, to figure out what to do and easily discover that. And so it's the balance of listening to players and then harnessing all of the technology and all of the change we're seeing to bring them more of what we know they truly love.
Yeah. Sarah, I'm assuming that your players are expansive and multi-generational. So are there any interesting tidbits or trends you found in terms of consumer habits? Let's say from boomers, for instance, who are still playing your games compared to Gen Z, or I think the generation that comes before, right after them, Gen Alpha. Any trends in that regard that you found interesting or insightful?
Well, the number one trend is that people who are younger play more across multiple devices.
Because they have time?
No, I think it could be because they have time. No, what I actually think is happening is it goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is the way gaming was originally constructed. It was very locked that the games and the hardware and the experience could only be experienced in one place. And so that's how a lot of people were introduced to gaming. I get my console, I play on my console, this is the only place that I could do this. And then the technology evolved. It became possible to actually experience those types of things on a PC. It's also possible now to actually stream those games from the cloud and have them playable on any device, regardless of the local capabilities of that device. All of those things changed. We then also saw the rise of mobile gaming, where there were game experiences, different types of games on mobile, and also games that actually brought their experience to mobile. All of these things changed. So younger people are coming into gaming and they have a whole set of options that are very different from the options that my dad had when he was growing up. And so they take advantage of all of those things. And they also grow up in a world where all of our entertainment is actually very normatively across devices. So we see that younger people play more across devices and are less likely to associate themselves with a single device experience and say, I'm a console gamer or I'm a PC gamer. People just say, I like to play games. And so that's a lot of the trends that we see. We said, okay, we want to make sure that Xbox is a place where you can play games across any device you want. You can play on the Xbox console, you can play through the Xbox PC experience, you can stream it over Xbox Cloud, but that your entertainment truly moves with you.
You're leading this legacy brand that's currently redefining itself. When you're steering a shift from a decades-long console identity, which is what Xbox has long been known for, toward this service-first model that you've talked about today, what have you learned about leading through cultural change, through organizational change, and even perhaps resistance that comes along with it because it's new and it's different?
Yeah, one of the things that is so true about Xbox is it's a brand that people have counted on now for almost 25 years. We're coming up to the 25-year anniversary. And people who play Xbox love Xbox. Like, our players deeply care about what Xbox is. It has a ton of meaning for them. And so changing it is hard, right? Where you know that there are things that are coming in the future that you need to invest in that help ensure the long-term health and growth of the brand. But you also know that there are players who really love what is right now. And the number one way that we talk about this as a team, you say, recognize that people love what we do, and that's why you get so much passion. That's why we get so much feedback. And then listen to that feedback and continually incorporate it into what we're doing so that we're sure that we're investing in the things that people love now, but also that we know that people are going to love in the future. And then relentlessly look at the core metrics of the health of the business. How many people are playing? What are our hours of play? What are people buying? What are people subscribing to? And so listening to both what people say, but also what they do and how they behave as we're continuously making the change, and then adjust and learn along the way.
Love that you said that. My brother is a huge gamer, and so I know that gamers are among the most
Very
passionate and vocal audiences and very vocal audience. How do you separate meaningful feedback from noise?
Well, we listen really intently to our players, and we listen across all channels. And then what we also do is we marry that with how players are actually behaving. And that really helps us sort it out, right? Hey, you're telling me you care about this thing. You're telling me this matters. And then let me see actually what choices are you making? What games are you playing? How are you investing? What are your hours of play? And that really helps direct what we're doing, is looking at the combination and then continuously building features and capabilities that deliver against that. So XPA, actually, very good example of when we actually looked at the player behavior of people who were playing XPA games. We saw they were playing 20% more time, right? And so we said, okay, people actually really love this feature, and that they actually spend more money in games, or they're more likely to play games that have this feature because they know they can take it with them across devices. So based off of that, we started to invest more in XPA, amplifying the catalog, bringing them more things. Similarly with the handheld, Windows handhelds actually have been around for some time, but we were looking at player feedback and they said, gosh, we really wish there was an improvement on the experience of Windows on these handhelds. What can we do to actually bring more value to them? And that's what led to that investment, where we realized, partnering with Windows, we could actually make this a lot better. And so it's looking at the combination of signals to prioritize what matters most and ensure we're executing on them over time.
Staying on that thread of determining how to prioritize what matters most, Xbox's business spans consoles, PCs, cloud subscriptions, now studio acquisitions. How do you go about deciding which levers to lean into the most and where you leaning in at this current moment?
Well, it all goes back to what I said, which is, look, what do we see players gravitating towards? What do we see them playing the most? What are the features that they most deeply value? And making sure that we're balancing delivering what's now and also leaning into those new features and capabilities. I mean, that's a big part of how Game Pass actually came about, as an example. It used to be that all games were basically pay to play and free to play on our platform. And then we saw people really asking to have an evergreen library that they could jump into, to have the certainty that someone else could actually have the same library as them and choose. And so that's why we built Game Pass, was to create an integrated portfolio, a curated portfolio of games that people could actually jump in into play. And so it's all about the balance of, hey, you try something, you see user signal, you invest in it, and then once you start to see people really grab onto it, readjusting again to continue to drive growth.
Obviously, Xbox, owned by Microsoft. Microsoft recently set ambitious profit margin targets of 30% for Xbox, well above the industry average. How does that influence its investment, its creative decision making? Is anything changed in that regard?
Well, we're always just adjusting our investment based off of what's happening in the macroeconomic industry, what players are asking, and what developers are asking for. And we're really focused on giving a full suite of experiences to people across all of that. And you're right, it's a continuous cycle where we are making sure that we're driving a profitable business, a healthy business, but we're also driving more player growth and developer growth and engagement across the whole system.
Following the Activision, Blizzard, and ZeniMax acquisitions, I'm curious how you integrate those studios into Xbox's overall strategy, while still preserving their respective creative culture and creative identity. How does that marriage work long term?
The big reason why we did those acquisitions was a lot about their creative culture and their creative identity. That was extremely important to us. When we stepped back, we were like, we know a lot about console games, but we were seeing the growth that was happening on PC and mobile. And the beautiful marriage with Activision is they had really great capabilities in console, but also in PC and mobile. And so one of the reasons why, really the primary reason why we wanted to join our team was actually, how do we bring that creative capability and knowledge into the system and create a space where it's really safe and free for the diversity of voices to contribute to solutions that we're driving, to innovations that we're building, and things that we're able to bring to market.
Xbox is increasingly embracing this multi-platform strategy, which you've already referenced. What are some of the commercial and creative implications of moving away from tight exclusivity to Xbox platforms?
Well, one of the things about gaming that I often think isn't talked about that much is that it is really about community, that it's about bringing people together to play and have a shared experience. And all of the biggest games in the world are the ones that are available across the broadest set of devices, where the largest number of people can come in and experience play. And so we're really focused on Xbox being able to bring unique experiences to you, unique capabilities to you, but also on doing the things that enable the greatest number of people to actually experience the games that we're building and experience the platform and Xbox itself across all screens.
Well, that's an interesting point you make. As Xbox moves towards this quote unquote play anywhere approach, how then do you think about the future of hardware? Is it still core? Is it a gateway to new services?
Hardware is absolutely core to everything that we do at Xbox, because we know that our most valuable players, the people who love Xbox, love the hardware experience. And so that is why we are working on our next generation hardware. It's going to be a powerful experience and one that also enables people to take their library with them. And that's what's really important here as well, is that we know that while people want to play their library absolutely on the console, they also want to be able to play it on PC or stream it around the cloud. And so the Xbox experience starts with the console, but then gives something to people that they can experience across all screens if they choose to, bringing their library, their community, their identity, and the store with them everywhere they go.
360 comprehensive approach to gaming. Would it be accurate for a layman to characterize this new vision for Xbox as almost the Netflixication of gaming?
People have said that, and I think it's that, but I also think it's more than that. Like, we support every business model. So if you want to subscribe and get access to your library games, you can absolutely do that. If you want to buy your games and build up your own library, you can also do that. And so it's really about actually giving as much access and choice to people, to not locking into any one model, but letting people actually pick the way they want to consume their games, and also letting developers pick the way that they want to monetize their games and reach the most users.